This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Last week's victory at Road Atlanta delivered a late package to Modov's doorstep. For everyone else, it might seem early, but the bitter taste of disappointment from last season's failure to claim the championship has all but disappeared for Carl. From here, it's all for pride. These last two rounds could give us an indication if anyone is able to step up to the plate and stop Modov's winning streak. Spa might provide opportunities, but for our hopefuls, well, they'll have to avoid mistakes and steel themselves as they tackle the infamous Eau Rouge. Will Carl remain king of the hill? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch Round 7 of the Precision Racing League's American iRacing Tuesday series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel and the iRacing Esports Network. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Taylor Burris. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Taylor, Spa Francorchamps. Any sports car racing fan, it's like uttering the name of Mecca. What an incredible circuit.
Yes, indeed, and welcome to the Circuit de Spa Francorchamps. Located in Belgium, this beautiful 4.3 mile or 7 kilometer, 19-turn circuit is one of the best racing circuits in all of the world. Of course, more famously known for the Belgium Grand Prix, sports car racing has made its mark here, with many races held, such as the famous races in the World Sports Car Championship and the World Endurance Championship. To give you, the viewers, to see what it is like to take on this beautiful and infamous course, let us go on board for a GSRC lap guide.
All right, we're in the GSRC 4 GT, so let's do a lap around Spa. Coming down to La Source, this can be a good place to try and overtake, but it's very sharp in this corner. It makes the early laps when cars are bunched up a big risk to trip over each other. Plus, you might want to save your pass attempt until after this corner, because as we accelerate down the hill towards Eau Rouge, you're going to see a much better opportunity if you just show some patience. Though Eau Rouge and Radillon are marginal in the GTE cars, it's still very high speed. Make sure not to get a cut course penalty as you come over the crest, and now we hit the Kimmel Straight. Overtaking is so much easier if you just blow by them on the straight with more momentum. Plus, you've got the heavy braking down into Lacombe to help you get the job done. You won't track out fully though, because Malbody comes right after the chicane, and you've got to hold left to give yourself a nice wide arc. This is the highest part of the circuit, and now we start heading back downhill with Rivage. Passes can sometimes happen into here, but it's terribly easy to outbrake yourself. Everyone's going to be fighting some understeer with its off-camber nature, but they've also got to get set up quickly for No Name. This deceptive bend catches people out frequently when the car snaps loose and they slap the barrier on the left. From here we approach Pouhon, which even with the paved runoff is kind of frightening. It's wicked fast, downhill, and has 2 apexes. Plus, if you lose it and have your car stop mid-corner, there's a good chance someone could plow into you. Finally, we're at the bottom of the valley. Vanier sees the occasional overtake, but it's really a medium-speed chicane, so outbraking your opponents is harder than you'd expect. It's also easy to get an off track on the exit by getting on the power too soon. Immediately you come up to Stavelot. This first apex can be kind of important because you obviously don't want to find yourself in the gravel. But the second one is the one that leads onto the backstretch, where if you hesitate on the power, you'll be very, very vulnerable. Even though there's some curves, none of them require lifting, so you'll be straightening them out to keep from scrubbing off speed. The real trick will be nailing Blanchimont because you can't quite take it flat out. And it'll be dangerous to let the car straddle the curb of the AstroTurf to the outside, since it'll be easy to spin it. You've got no time to rest now because you're coming up quick to the bus stop. This is a very popular place for passes, but it's also super common to blow the corner completely and wind up in the runoff. Smart drivers will make sure and stay tight to the first apex and set up a good exit onto the pit straight. But hopefully, if you've kept it all together, you've now finished a lap around Spa. You see a lap around Spa. We'll be doing quite a few of them, not just here in qualifying, but as well in the race. And if you want to do more of them and learn how to get the most out of your simulator, you should check out SIMSA. That is the Simulation Motorsports Association. It's a sim racing platform created by experienced racers. Established in 2015, the association is bringing together organizations and communities to further promote sim racing globally. Concentrating on all sims worldwide, they offer a focused opportunity for sim races to compete with each other. They also provide consultancy services to this growing esports world. SIMSA offers solutions for racing simulator requirements, custom-built simulator parts, complete customization, and upgrading of existing simulators. You can find them at simsa.net. Once again, they are sponsoring this entire season of PRL here in the iRacing Tuesday series. But as glad as we are to have them, let's take a glance over at the points championship, because that's really what we need to update you on. We didn't have the official numbers after last round, but now we do. 76 points that Jorge Flores is behind Karl Modoff, despite him moving up one position into second place in the points. Unfortunately, he is not able to mathematically catch Karl Modoff. So Karl Modoff is now your champion, redeeming himself for last season's second place. Still, the fight is on from second on down. Look at that. Eisler, Tremblay, and Avital are all very, very close, all within reach of P2. They could all swap around before all is said and done. However, let's take a look at the Teams Championship. We've got Taylor ready to fill us in on that.
Of course, and if we take a look at the Teams Championship, at the top of the leaderboard is the Speedworks Racing team with Tremblay and Flores. They currently have a good gap of a 57-point lead over a second position, which is tied currently with the Rigmatech Ether SimSport team and the SDS Racing team, Griffith and Avatar with Rigmatech, while the Montini brothers hold on as they gain a position. In the fourth position is the team Bushfink Racing with Ott and Eisler, and then rounding out your top five is the Andes Team Puma team of Kita and Valenzuela. So the championship is looking in the teams a little bit like it is in the drivers, but still, anything is possible in the teams championship.
Going to be fascinating these last two rounds to see how that plays out, but let's fill you in on these final two rounds and what we've got in store today. Of course, we are in round 7 of 8, the penultimate of this season, and there are 3 cars that they can choose from in this series, but you have to stick with it. The Porsche 911, the Ferrari 488, or the Ford GT. Now, these GTE cars have about 30 minutes, a little bit more than that, worth of fuel on board. That means that they can expect one scheduled pit stop with this 45-minute race that we have today. They can adjust the cars according to their liking. Anything that you can do in these GTE cars in the real world, you can do here in the sim. The incident cap is 24. That's going to be a big talking point today. We are at Spa, and it's notorious for racking up incident points with the paved runoffs being easy to run off wide to. We'll go over some of the danger areas a little bit later, so watch out for that. They have no spare car to back themselves up, so if you do get any damage, well, you're going to have to go in for an extra pit stop, and that will also be a talking point we'll discuss in a little bit. In the meantime, let's go over to Taylor. What are the keys to the race here? See if anybody can overtake Modoff for the top spot, of the podium.
Well, one of the keys to the victory is involving Karl Modoff, and the question, can anyone overthrow Karl Modoff? This track is notorious for causing surprise winners due to the fact of lap traffic or even a bad miscommunication on pit stop. So drivers are going to have to make sure they are absolutely perfect to a T in order to take the fight to Karl Modoff. Drivers are going to have to also be careful with lap traffic here. We've seen in multiple races in past seasons where a lap car can cost you a victory. So drivers are going to have to be so careful when battling and going around lap traffic. And then finally, of course, is just Karl Modoff with momentum on his side. Can he be the one that pulls off the entire season sweep? So he's looking so far to do that right now, as he's currently sitting on pole and, of course, has won every single race since the beginning of the season, Joe.
He said himself he's thinking about potentially trying to win every single of the 8 rounds here in the American iRacing Tuesday series for PRL, and it's looking very, very feasible. Now, even though this season is coming to a close very soon, here on IESN. We do expect it will be back, at least on GSRC. We'll see if it comes back to IESN. We'll get confirmation of that later. But that doesn't mean you should not subscribe. In fact, we highly encourage you to subscribe here to IESN. All you got to do that is click the little red button that says that word. Why? Well, we also not only have the American iRacing Tuesday Series, but also Thursday Series and all World Championship races. Oval, road, the dirt side of things on the oval side, and the Rallycross Series. So make sure and subscribe to IESN and don't miss a moment. Now, here in the virtual world, we've gone all over the world here in the PRL, and transporting your cars to locale literally all over the globe is as easy as clicking your mouse. But in the real world, it's a lot more involved for those who haul vehicles state to state. The last thing you want to worry about is having to fill out all kinds of messy paperwork for the car inspections and then keep them in order on the road. There's great news if you're looking to do away with those stacks of paper. Inspect a Ride is the fastest way to conduct a vehicle inspection and create reports. You can save time, eliminate paper, keep better inspection records, and simplify your life all from your iPhone, iPad, or Android phone or tablet. You can find out more at inspectoride.com/iRacing, where you can even find a free trial to find out if Inspect a Ride is right for you. So check it out. Once again, that address is inspectoride.com/iRacing. Right now, qualifying's going on down on the track, and up at the top, it is Karl Modoff once again looking to get that bonus point for pole, and he's got 2/10 over Christian Eisler. And Taylor, last round, Christian looked like he was going to be in the running, at least for a second place, but boy, he's been having a miserable season in terms of trouble finding him and just not having good finishes without seeing the car turned around or damaged.
Yes, indeed, and that seems like to be the problem for Christian Eisler. Ever since that season where he was almost going nose to tail with drivers like Ben Perez 2 seasons ago, it just seems like he has not been able to get back up on his feet and find a way either to a step on the podium or, even better yet, the top step of the podium. So Christian Eisler definitely needs to try to figure out a way during this small off-season that he has coming up of how he can improve in order to be back on the top of the podium and even finally get a championship.
So Christian Eisler obviously has to look away and look elsewhere for this season in terms of success, but the season always brings new opportunities when it turns over. We'll see how he can perform when we get to the next season starting up. However, he can always start his momentum here. Leif Peterson's got some momentum himself. He sits in 5th right now, but he got himself a podium last round. Had to fight both Montinis for it, but it was Federico who managed to beat him to 2nd place at Road Atlanta. Peterson wound up in 3rd, of course. He's trying to improve on his position, and he has less than a 10th to go to overtake Simon Avital, who unfortunately DNF'd last round in the very first lap. Stark contrast to his previous race before that, where he got himself a chance at a podium. Simon currently also within a 10th of the car ahead. Taylor?
Yes, indeed. Both these drivers, I say, had a very up and down season. And Leif Peterson, I would have to give as someone who had the most improved drive throughout these past few weeks. I mean, usually started at the mid-pack finisher, now running up towards podium finishes. So it won't be long before we see Leif Peterson on the top step of the podium. As for Simon Avital, he seems to be running into a bad streak right now at the moment. So he is someone who needs to find his rhythm again and try to finish out the season on a high note as best as he can.
Yeah, though I'd say that was certainly not his fault. The last round, he just got caught up in a big wreck at a bad spot to try and avoid. Bertone, currently sitting 11th, looks like he's abandoning the last of his qualifying because the checkered flag has just flown. Francisco Montini is going to be the first to cross the line, and he does not improve. Karl Modoff abandons his lap, so he's already on pole. Doesn't really need to do much there. Leif Peterson could dethrone him. Let's see what kind of pace he's got as he comes out of the bus stop, crosses the line, and it looks like he does not improve either, unfortunately. So let's go back to Christian Eisler now. currently sitting in second place, and he's gotten it to within a tenth of the number 48, but he's got a long ways to go to finish this lap. He's coming down the hill into Pouan right now.
Pouan's going to be a very difficult corner. You got to make sure you carry enough speed to go through there in order to have even a shot to get a good exit off. It's very easy to lose the car to where you go over that curbing and get a incident point, which can disqualify that lap. So Christian gets a nice run through there as he makes his run down towards the back half of the track. Let's see if he's able to improve. Currently at a 2:12.76. It's going to be a big ask, but I think he can maybe overcome it. He was fastest in practice.
Got a number of other cars still finishing ahead of him. Most of them are a little bit down the field, though. Hugo Galaz, as we ride on board with Christian, is going to finish his lap. He's in 19th. As he crosses the line, he improves, but only his time. He doesn't improve his position, unfortunately. Eisler now around some of the final corners here, down towards the bus stop. This is it. See if he's got anything in the car. He's got to beat a 2:12.6 up and across the line. He does not. It's a 2:12.8, just a tenth off his best, so he'll settle for second place. Tyler Dezube is the last car to cross the line. Let's see if he actually finishes the lap. As he comes through the bus stop. And, he's going to pull off to the side. Looks like he is not interested in having to finish it. So, with that, let's go through our starting order. Karl Modoff is once again your pole sitter, getting another bonus point. He's only missed 5 of them so far this whole season. 5 bonus points. So that's how close he is to getting maximum points. Christian Eisler is going to start on the front row in P2. Then it's Federico Montini trying to get another podium. He'll start from 3rd. That's a good start for him. Simon Avital will be P4, followed by Leif Peterson in 5th. Then it's Fernando Borda starting in 6th spot. Jean-Marc Tremblay will be 7th, followed by Sebastian Maciera in 8th. Francisco Montini will start 9th, and Aaron Thacker in 10th.
Jerome Perfion will start in the 11th position, followed by Cristobal Valenzuela in 12th. Rodrigo Munoz will start in the 13th position alongside Lucio Vargas in 14th. Corey Clark will start in the 15th position alongside Justin Hall in 16th. Takeshi Kita will start in 17th position, followed by Tyler Dezube in 18th. Hugo Galaz in 19th. James LeBlanc rounds out your top 20, with Jeff Jacobson, Curlin Andrew, and Joey Trungale rounding out your 23-car field here at Spa.
They all start to line up now, getting ready for the rolling start. Curlin Andrew coming over from the Radical Series on Thursday. Trying his hand on the one circuit. He managed a win over in the Thursday series. So maybe he feels himself a good competitor here. He didn't have a good qualifying time, though, so he's got a long hill to climb, unfortunately. It has been 6 rounds finished. We're getting ready to start the 7th here at Spa. And every single one this season has been won by Karl Modoff. He's going to try and make this 7 for 7 out here today. Now, these off tracks around here, 24 incidents will disqualify you. Where are some of the spots where you expect drivers to really rack up those incident points by exceeding the boundaries, Taylor?
Well, one is going to be up through Eau Rouge and the Radelion, as well as Pouan, where we will see a lot of drivers maybe go offline. And then, of course, through the back half of the Blanchimont before they get into the bus stop chicane. That's a big area where drivers can easily go off course, even spin the car out and lose control of the car. So drivers are going to have to be careful and mind their P's and Q's through those sections of track. And also, remember, they're in a race, so they're going to be battling as well. So they have to remain focused throughout the entire 45-minute race.
Watching the rest of the drivers make sure they've got the right setup in the car. And we go racing for 45 minutes. And there goes the roof pace car, leading them off through Blanchimont. They'll duck off before the bus stop, but they will not start there where you normally see the Grand Prix start with the Formula One cars. They're going to go around La Source, down the hill, with this being the endurance layout, and then they will get their green on the way towards Eau Rouge. So as they trundle their way behind that roof, love all the trees out here at Spa with the new weather system that they have, new time system that they have here in iRacing. Those shadows will, of course, change and grow as time goes on, so some of the visibility will change for these drivers. You can see now they're going to line up and slowly work their way towards that hairpin. Hopefully not having, well, hopefully slowly. Modov has taken off early. Usually they have to wait here, but Modov not going to sit around. Is this going to cause some chaos in La Source? Most everybody looks like they're going to work their way through. Now the green flag officially comes out, but Modov already trying to get himself a little bit of a gap over Christian Eisler, but Christian's not having any of it as they head through Eau Rouge for the first time up onto the Kimmel Straight. Is everybody going to get through clean in this scary fast corner with a huge crest at the top? And I think they will.
Everybody's doing a great job as they go down the Kimmel Straight. This is where we'll see a lot of drivers utilize the draft right now, as we see up for battle for P2. It is going to be Eisler trying to hold the likes off of Federico Montini, as we see Simon Avital drop back.
Very good start, despite it happening very early. No problems through Lacombe either. A little wide through Ravage for Karl Modov, and Eisler gets right back up on him. And I think we've got a problem with Lucio Vargas in the back. Yes, indeed. He got a little help from behind from Justin Hall. Found himself off into the kitty litter. We'll get back to the replay a little bit later on that one. Down at the bottom of the hill of Puhan, despite Eisler catching up at the top of the hill, Modov responds, starts to pull away slightly. Still no change of position for the top three. It is still Modov leading, Eisler leading Montini.
Montini doing a really good job trying to stay up with the back bumper of Christian Eisler, but he has to worry about the likes of Leif Peterson as well as Jean-Marc Tremblay as they make their way out towards the Blanchimont. Now, it is still going to be Karl Modov holding on for that P1 position as he's slowly but surely pulling away from the likes of Christian Eisler.
Yep, it is very quickly single file here in Spa. They come up to the bus stop, one of the more popular places to pass. Could we potentially see anybody make an attack up to here? So far, everybody really thinking about the long term, it looks like. Not seeing any attempts from anyone until we get all the way back to the likes of Tyler DeZube, who had to go on Joey Trungale, but it didn't go off. And so he stays back in 21st position. Meanwhile, our leaders already complete that first lap. Karl Modov already on his way towards Eau Rouge.
Battle for P10 is starting to heat up a little bit right now. This is between Jerome Graffion along with Simon Avital, who is up in fourth earlier but dropped back. They're now making their way over the Radillion and down towards the Kimmel Straight. He's going to utilize that slipstream to close in. Little bit by little bit, he may take a look before they get to turns 3 and 4.
Avital looking around the outside with Bertome going slightly defensive. And he's not quite close enough to really make an aggressive move ahead of them. But was that Aaron Thacker trying to move on Maciera that certainly didn't work out? Lost a lot of time.
He definitely did try that pass coming out of Malmedy, but it looks like that we see Maciera was able to pull it out and get a good run out of Ravage and out of No Name, so he's definitely going to start pulling away. But Aaron Thacker, Mr. Consistency, back inside the top 10. I guess that little bit of top 10 finishes he's had here recently has built that momentum up that he needs as they come out of Puan.
Let's take a look at what happened to Vargas, because everything settled out pretty well through most of the field. This was in Ravage. We're looking for Lucio Vargas. There we go. And he gets a little bit of a bump behind him. I'm trying to remember who it was that got into him.
Right behind him in the 164 4. Ooh, gets right up underneath him, under the diffuser almost, and pushes him into the grass, or into the kitty litter.
Watch from Hall's point of view. Wonder if he just got caught out, but good job by Vargas for not winding up in the barrier. Let's watch There we go. Big old shove. So we come back live. Hall is able to carry on. Doesn't look like he's got too much damage on the car. We had a great battle during that replay going on between Avital and Bertome. Bertome came out on top.
Avital did a really great job. I believe we have the replay now, so let's take a look at that, Joe.
Yep, this was started to kick off, I believe. Yeah, there you see heading towards Blanchemont. They weren't brave enough to go through there too wide, although looks like Bertome went a little bit off course, and then it was Avital's turn, outbraking himself in his Ferrari up towards the bus stop. Gets it back on, but he lost a lot of time. So we come back live. You can see Simon Avital still running in 11th position, trying to regroup and gain ground on the number 17. We're not missing much up front because Modov is streaking away yet again. Got a little bit of a battle happening behind them in the mid-pack. Horta and Maciata very, very close as they come into Pouhon.
Maciata definitely tries to take feet to the outside, but is not able to now as they now head into Lefang. He's going to have to hold off right now. Not close enough to make any passes, but I was looking back around the P13 and P14. There was quite the battle between Rodrigo Munoz and Corey Clark, and now Justin Hall gets into the mix as well as he was able to get by Corey Clark as they make the run down to Stavolo. I mean, Justin Hall, even though that incident that he had earlier on with Vargas, he is still on his way, working his way up through the field.
A tight pack of cars pack here. Munoz up at the head of him. You mentioned Hall back there, the second car in line. That's Corey Clark as well in the green and blue Porsche. He's got a good run. In fact, so does Justin Hall as he climbs all over the back of Rodrigo Munoz. Ooh, big lift, almost a touch in the dirt it looks like as he came into Blanchemont. That cost him quite a bit, and now that's going to deny him an opportunity as they reach the bus stop.
Well, look at the hard braking that we see Takeshi Kita as well as James LeBlanc get, but he loses it out of the bus stop. This might give the opportunity for, it looks like, Hugo Galas to make the pass on the outside before they get into La Source. But right now, I mean, I'm looking up ahead, just not too far. Simon Avital again missed the bus stop, overbraked himself, and nearly lost another position.
Yeah, that's put him under threat from Cristobal Valenzuela back there in 12th. Meanwhile, we're watching this battle coming into Eau Rouge. That's between Galaz and LeBlanc. And Galaz decides not to try and stay side by side through that infamous corner, because now he gets another opportunity in the slipstream up the Kimmel straight. He gains, he looks to the inside. He's going to have to outbrake him. LeBlanc to the outside. Can he defend from there? Not quite. Hugo Galaz, nice and smooth into the chicane, takes away P17.
We call a beautiful pass here at Spa as he goes down out of Malmedy and into Bravage. He's going to start trying to pull away and catch up to his teammate of Takeshi Kita, who's not too far up the road. And in front of Takeshi, we see the likes of Corey Clark as well as Rodrigo Munoz trying to battle it out again as they head down to Pouhon.
And Hall has been making great work here. He's up to 13th. Munoz just behind, now has to deal with Kita and the likes of Clark. Clark closes in through Fanyes. Stays right under the gearbox. Looks a little bit to the inside into Stavolo. But he's chopped off at the apex. Can he get a run? Coming off of Stavolo too, towards Blanchemont. Yes, he does. A beautiful run now on Rodrigo Munoz. The red machine ahead stays defensive, picks right in the middle of the course. Tries to make Clark work the hard way around. Now he comes back to the racing line. Clark following him through Blanchemont. Stays with him, but I'm not sure. Yep, he's just not going to try down into the bus stop. Decides that he needs a better opportunity, and there it goes, because Munoz makes a mistake and hands it over on a silver platter.
That's one of the best things you can do in sports car racing, is wait for the other person in front of you to make that mistake. And we saw that happen right there with Rodrigo Munoz. But it now looks like Corey Clark almost makes a mistake as he comes out of La Source. This gives Takeshi Kita the opportunity to make a pass on the outside. Can he do it before they get up to El Rouge and the Radillon? Let's see, side by side. You don't want to do that going up El Rouge. It looks like Takeshi Kita will take over the spot.
Great stuff, opportunistic by Kita, but I don't think he's out of the woods yet. Here comes Corey Clark with a head of steam up the Kimmel Straight. Once again, defensive move that Corey Clark is going to have to deal with. Takeshi Kita trying to hold him off. He's a nose ahead once they hit the braking. Can he find the grip the long way around? Kita comes back at him. He carries the momentum and denies him. Beautiful move by the number 30.
Yeah, but Corey Clark's not done yet. He's going to take a look into the inside as they get to Ravage. Not close enough to make the pass, and he will be able to slot back inside right behind Takeshi Kita.
Fierce battling here for 15th place, 14th place, I should say. Coming up to the front, though, I've been keeping half an eye on Montini. Frederico has been challenging the 727 and making him work hard for this P2. And this is looking very, very familiar. It was Francisco last week that Eisler was having to deal with. Now it's his brother. Hopefully it doesn't wind up like last time. Francisco got into the back of Eisler and turned him around.
Yes, indeed. And I'm pretty sure Frederico's keeping that in mind. So he's probably going to mind his P's and Q's with Eisler as they come out of Blanchimont and in towards the bus stop chicane. So it's only going to be a matter of time to see what he can do. Into the bus stop he goes. He goes a little bit late braking. Car gets a little bit loose on him, but he's able to make it stick and get a good run off of the bus stop chicane as they head down towards Les Sars.
Looks like he lost a little bit of time, though, through that chicane as he falls back slightly. While these two have been watching each other just ahead out of their windscreen, they can see the likes of Karl Modhoff. The number 48 is about 2.5 seconds up. So it's not a huge gap at this point. We're nearly 15 minutes into the race. So they're keeping Karl honest.
Yeah, it's not a complete surprise that Karl Modhoff is pulling away right now, but we got a battle going on right behind between Sebastian Massiere and Borda now as they come up the Kimmel Straight. They're also got Jean-Marc Tremblay in their slipstream right now as he's currently leading this pack of 3 cars as they make the run up towards Lecombe. It is still going to be Tremblay holding off, but he's coming in, closing in bit by bit. Let's see what he's able to do. Not able to close in the gap right now, but they make the run down to Ravage. It is still going to be Tremblay holding off the likes of Massiere and Borda.
Yep, Borda got a good slipstream up the Kimmel Straight. That really brought him into this. And Massiere probably could have done something. Oh, here he's got a good run coming out of no name. A little bit of a defensive move from Borda. Not wanting his teammate to try and do something risky around this fast left-hander. And that has caused them to lose a little bit of touch with Jean-Marc Tremblay, who increases his gap by a tenth or two.
Yes, indeed, but Massiere is still trying to put some pressure on his teammate. He's going to try his best to close in as they come out of Poulan and make the run, or actually, no, that's actually a Fangs, into Stavelo.
Out of Stavelo, now towards Blanchimont. Tremblay continuing to make himself safer and safer from these two. Let's see if the teammates are allowed to battle Massiere. The car behind. Car ahead is Fernando Borda. Up and through the left-hander. Got to withstand the wake of the car ahead, and it looks like he cannot. Washes out a little bit wide. Sebastian is denied the chance for now. A bit of a lockup, though, from Borda.
Indeed, he's got a little bit of lockup that might give the opportunity for Sebastian Massiere to close the gap as they head down towards Les Sources. He's going to just follow suit right now with his teammate. Into Les Sources they go. It is still going to be Borda over his teammate Massiere. But right behind, Aaron Thacker is starting to close in a little bit. He's just slowly chipping away at that lead over these two drivers in front of him.
Yep, Aaron Thacker is watching this potential battle and licking his chops, hoping that maybe it could give him a chance to get into the mix. They hit the Kimmel Straight since we first picked up on this a lap ago. Ooh, and look at this battle between Peterson and Montini. Looks like Montini going to come out ahead of Peterson here through Lecombe. Remember, Peterson managed to get himself a podium last week at Road Atlanta, and he was actually battling with Francisco for that one.
Yeah, it looks like Francisco Montini realized the situation. He wants to try to be in front of Lee Peterson this time and go after his brother Federico to get on the step of the podium as they come out of No Name into Puan. And it's going to be still Francisco Montini holding off and starting to pull away from the likes of Lee Peterson.
And you can see that separating slightly. Look just behind them, though. That battle continuing to stay very hot between Maciera and Borda, as well as the likes of Tremblay leading the way. He keeps gapping them, Taylor, just a little bit, and then it seems like they run him back down.
Yeah, it seems like they get bet. He gets a good corner exit, but once they get on these certain parts of the straightaway, such as right now, they utilize the slipstream to close in on that gap to the back bumper of Tremblay as they make the run down towards Blanchimont. Is Borda closing in now? He's going to start reeling him in a little bit more as his teammate Maciera tries to follow suit to help give him that extra push as they make the run into the bus stop. Let's see who's braver, how late they're going to brake. Tremblay's going to go late, but it looks like he goes wide. Here comes Borda. He's going to take a peek to the outside. Now to the inside, a little bit of maybe a bump now coming out of the bus stop chicane as they come to La Source. Let's see who's going to be braver now. He's going to maybe see if he can take a peek to the inside. Yes, he will. He's going to dive to the inside into La Source. Borda is going to follow suit right now as Maciera tries to do the same thing but cannot complete the pass. Tremblay now drops back to 7th place.
He's going to slip in behind the likes of Borda. Maybe look to get himself a good run over Radillion. Manages it very well, and he gets a fantastic run. He's within the slipstream, but so does Maciera behind him. Are we going to see 3 wide? Yes, indeed we are, as all 3 cars vie for that P6 spot. And it's going to be Maciera who potentially comes away with it. No, he's way too hot into the corner. So is his teammate. Both of them off into the grass, but both of them manage to keep the spot as Tremblay finds himself demoted by both Porsches.
Yes, I think Tremblay realized what might happen if he continued pressing onward with that. He could have possibly made contact, but look who caught up now. Aaron Thacker now to the back bumper of Jean-Marc Tremblay as they go into No Name. That Ford GT starting to show a little bit of speed now as they make the run to Puan.
We go on board with Thacker. I mentioned he was probably licking his chops. Well, now he's practically drooling. He can see all 3 cars within roughly a second of himself. Not many opportunities here as they come down to Fanyes, but that little bit of battling was all he needed. Now he is within the slipstream in that Ford GT. Let's see what he can do off of Stavlo here, Taylor.
Closing in, he's going to try his best. He gets not the greatest entry into Stavolo. Let's see if he can capitalize and get a good exit. I think he gets a good run now, but I think he's not close enough to get the slipstream to make the run towards Blanchimont. But Jean-Marc Tremblay, though, he's starting to close back into the back bumper of Fernando Borda, while Sebastian Maciera is starting to pull away from this group of cars right now. Into Blanchimont they go. Maciera, Borda, Tremblay, Thacker, making the run. Who's going to be late into the braking zone of the bus stop? It looks like we see Maciera brake a little bit late. There's a little brake smoke coming up right there, but Thacker gets a great run. Loses it a little bit coming off the corner exit of the bus stop.
Sebastian tried to say adios to this group, but was in too much of a hurry to get away, it looks like, through the bus stop. Oh, and once again he locks him up. Coming through La Source, doesn't lose the position. Almost looks like he's overdriving the car, Taylor.
He does look like that indeed. He might be overdriving it, which can cost him big time now as they make the run back up through Air Rouge and up the Radillion. It is still going to be, it looks like Thacker gets a great run right now. He's going to try to take a peek to the outside maybe on Jean-Marc Tremblay. Let's see what this battle's going to do right now. Side by side they go down the Kemmel Straight. Who's going to be braver into Lacombe? I think Thacker's going to get the position.
Wow. These spots just keep slipping through the fingers of Jean-Marc Tremblay. The good news for him is that he's only lost 2 positions since the grid. He started this thing in 7th. He's now sitting in 9th as he tries to go back on Aaron Thacker down into Rivage, but that one doesn't quite work. Been watching this battle for a while, and we haven't quite looked in on the likes of Corey Clark in a bit. He's ahead of Rodrigo Munoz. You remember he was trying to overtake, but now they've got Takeshi Kita in the mix, and there's Hugo Galaz at the tail of the train.
It's 4 Porsches battling it out right now as they come out of No Name, making the run to Puan. Still, Corey Clark doing a great job after getting passed by those two a little bit early on. Into Puan. Oh, as he loses it, he's going to lose control of the car. He's going to maybe hit the barrier. No, he saves it from hitting the barrier. We can get a replay on that. That was just the car snapped loose on him.
He's able to get it going. Let's look at it here. I think he managed to avoid putting it into the Armco. This corner always scares me with just about every car. It feels like oversteer is so easy to get.
Yeah, the car can be very easily used to getting loose through this section of the track. I mean, Puan is just so difficult. You feel the car get a little bit of light underneath you, and you have to try your best to try to keep the car in best control as you can.
So we see Clark now down in 19th. Ooh, and looks like Tremblay has had enough of losing positions. He's decided to pit. And this is one thing that always strikes me as unique about this endurance layout. The length of this pit lane, Taylor.
In a sense, the pit lane can be the great equalizer for everyone here. It takes quite a bit of time to get down this pit road because you're basically going to, he makes a little bit of contact with the pit barrier wall. That's not something you do not want to have happen, especially on pit road. So drivers have to be careful.
Yeah, as Bill likes to call it, the McDonald's drive-through takes another victim, it seems. So the Canadian works his way down towards his spot while we take a look at 7th once again. Cannot get away from the likes of Borda, but now it's Aaron Thacker who continues to climb upwards and forwards. Ooh, wow, he is very close to the back of that Porsche as we ride on the gearbox of Fernando. A little bit of a look to the inside down into the Puhan, maybe trying to get a little bit of a psychological edge on Borda, but doesn't work this time.
No, Thacker's just biding his time right now as they go into Fagnes. And still, he's trying to get a good run off there. He's having a little difficulty getting that run he needs in order to close into the back bumper of Borda. Go into Stavolo. He's trying his best. Gets a good run off of there. He might be able to make the pass coming off of Stavolo, coming toward Blanchimont.
Ooh, I'd say he's pretty close. That Porsche cuts a decent hole in the air, especially for the very short, very small Ford GT. Look at him close in. They come up to Blanchimont, but the car washes out. He barely keeps it on the track. And now when they hit the bus stop, he looks forwards to maybe try a pass later on, maybe out of here with a good run. He looks pretty solid coming off of the bus stop. But no, I don't think he's going to get a chance as they come up towards La Source hairpin. And behind them, this is Simon Avital coming up to the back of this battle.
Yes, Simon, after starting in 4th, dropped all the way outside the top 10 earlier on now, climbed his way back into 9th. And now trying to close in on the back bumper of Aaron Thacker right now. Nice little run he's got going on after somewhat probably just dropping it back during the first lap.
Aaron Thacker pulling up on the back of Borda. He's got a fantastic run coming up towards Lacombe. A little bit of a defensive move from Borda trying to hold him off, and a defensive move as well from Aaron Thacker holding the middle of the road. Looks for the over-under. Doesn't quite work for him. Gets a third chance at it out of Malmedy, and this one looks like it might work. He gets squeezed all the way down to the grass, can't quite use it. A little bit wide, though, for Fernando Borda. Opens up the chance. Thacker doesn't slip through. He stays behind, comes through no name, and now here comes Simon Avital with a head of steam down the hill towards Puhan. Looks once, comes back to the racing line, thinks better of it.
Possibly was thinking about making that pass, but realized how short they were closing into Puhan. He did not feel comfortable making that pass right now. He's going to try to follow suit right now as they go through Fagnes. And still, as he gets a great run right through there now, coming corner exit, he gets right to the back bumper of Aaron Thacker there, Joe. He's trying his way to get back closer up to the front where he started.
The pressure has been building in this battle for P7. I wonder at what point does it erupt? Each of them getting chances to take a look, but very aggressive, but fair defensive moves have been holding them back.
been doing a great job of making those right defensive moves, not to where it's completely blocking, but just good defensive driving, setting up to where it's going to be difficult for the driver behind them as they go into the bus stop. This is another great place where you could easily, but Thacker decides to come in.
Says enough of this. You guys can have fun playing around. I'm going to try and see if I can make time on my own. As he works his way down the first half of the pit lane, the Texas driver taking not a terribly early stop. In fact, wow, this race has gone by. We're past halfway through. I didn't even look at the clock in a while.
Time flies when you're having fun, Joe, and it's definitely fun here at Spa. I mean, we've had a lot of great battles in the mid-pack and for the top 10 here, as the battle for P7 between Borda and Avatar is still heating up as they go down the Camel Straight.
Yep, Avatar's got himself the slipstream. Borda once again covers off the middle of the track, forces him to go the hard way. Avatar doesn't have enough momentum, and he backs out of it by the time they hit Lacombe. In fact, that Ferrari drops back a little bit out of Malmedy, it looks like.
Yeah, he had not the greatest of exits coming out of Malmedy, but it looks like now Borda, as we have a situation with Thacker.
Well, just watching Thacker in his pit stop. Tremblay is the highest pitter right now. I believe he should come out ahead of Thacker. Thacker's already gone. Actually, will this be relatively close, though? Ooh, yeah, this is going to be pretty close, but the momentum is in favor of Tremblay, and he does move ahead of Aaron Thacker, but not by a lot.
No, he's got that slipstream to help him close that gap in as they make the run into the Combs. So he's going to definitely not be pulling away too quickly now as Jean-Marc has gotten in front of Aaron Thacker. So the draft is going to help out a little bit as they make the run down to Malmedy as well as Ravage.
Going to have to get on his horse for sure. Although Thacker won't want to lose too much time, especially if he gets into a battle. Oh, and second place is in. Christian Eisler has hit pit lane. So we're starting to see some of the major players work their way down to get their service. Nobody else in the top 10 looks like they're electing to quite yet.
Nobody yet. We just saw a couple of drivers go by as now Takeshi Kita decides to come down pit road.
So it's mostly, it looks like mid-pack drivers trying to do something. Let's jump back up to 6th place because Avatar is going to have another chance at this. And in fact, this one looks so much better. Look at all the speed that he's got. And it's same story as always with Borda covering him off to the inside. What did Avatar learn from last time? He breaks and slots back into line, but he stays a little bit closer. That looked so much cleaner.
Almost try to do an over-under maneuver there, but could not make it work. As we saw that Borda had a nice defensive line through Lacombs and Malmedy. As they go into Ravage right now, he's hugging that red area right there, trying to keep that line as tight as possible. Going through the curving of no name, no problems at all. Borda doing a really good job of holding off Avatar.
I can report that Eisler has finished his stop and is out, and he has a whole bunch of clear track. There is nobody around him. So Christian is now able to try and put in some hot laps to see what that can do for him. Granted, he's been falling off of Modoff. I think this is less about trying to catch the leader and more about trying to shake Federico.
Going to try his best to right now, and due to the fact that he was the first one out of the top 5 to pit, this is going to be the time to where we see who's going to be also the one to follow suit. Will Karl Modoff decide to come down pit road to see if he can try to maintain the lead, or will the Montini brothers, since he was the one battling with those drivers, know to respond to this pit stop? As they come up, it looks like Federico's going to come in, and Karl Modoff.
Interesting. Wonder if we're hitting the end of the pit window. I mentioned that this was something of a thirsty track. So you see the Club West driver on the pit limiter. Montini, both Montinis with him. Leif Peterson, I believe we've hit the limit. Everybody coming in now.
Yeah, we're now everyone from everyone in the top 10 has decided to come down pit road. See here, yep, Rodrigo Munoz, Corey Clark should also be coming down. Yes, indeed, Joe. I believe everyone has hit their limit. They cannot make it another lap on fuel. So this gives that chance for Christian Eisler, due to the fact of how long pit road is. He can maybe get back into second, or maybe try to sneak one by and close that gap to Karl Modoff.
There's Eisler hitting the bus stop. The 727 still has a ways to go, but so do our leaders. Modoff's hit his pit stall. Federico Montini still getting to his. And Eisler now around La Source. Modoff already out of his stall, picking speed up through the pit exit. Eisler across the endurance start line. Where is Montini? Nowhere to be seen. He is out well behind Christian Eisler, who's going to be perfectly safe in P2.
What a great pit strategy call by Christian Eisler to come down that one lap. That gets a great run and a great distance between him and the Montini brothers, but still a long way to go to catch up to our leader, Karl Modoff.
Indeed. Does this change any of the order? Modoff still your leader now that pit stops are done. In fact, let's run down since the pit stops have finished. Karl's been leading since the drop of the green, and looks like that's not going to change anytime soon with a 6.5 second lead over second place Christian Eisler. Now, Eisler could be his own worst enemy here. He's had some bad results lately, some of them not his own fault, we have to say. Let's see if the 727 can hold it together there in P2. Francisco Montini, looking to take his first podium of the season, sits in third with really nobody nearby. He's a whole 5 seconds back up to Eisler and 3.5 seconds back to the car and fourth. That is Leif Peterson, who 9:13 started this race in fifth. He's up one spot since then. And the Porsche looking nice and smooth, though not looking like he'll have a chance at another podium. Then you get to fifth. It's Sebastian Maciera trying to give chase to Leif Peterson. He's got about 2 seconds to make up. Not impossible out here for Sebastian to do that. Taylor, what's the next five look like?
Well, currently sitting in sixth position is Jean-Marc Tremblay. He is not too far behind, actually, the likes of Sebastian Maciera, as he's sitting in the sixth position. But he has right in the back bumper, as you can see on screen, Federico Montini in his Ferrari, closing up right now as they make the run to the bus stop chicane. He started back in third, but with not the greatest of pit stops, has dropped back as they're now going side by side in the bus stop. Let's watch that right quick as we see Federico move up past Jean-Marc. But in the eighth position right now is Aaron Thacker. Aaron Thacker currently doing a really great job getting back inside the top 10 here. I mean, I'm just impressed to see him back inside there doing a great job. With ninth place, Fernando Borda, after not the greatest of pit stops either, losing multiple positions. And Justin Hall, the Florida driver, also moves up into the top 10 in that 164 Ford. So a great job for those two drivers.
Can report that Avital was managed to overtake Valenzuela, so he got himself into 11th. But let's go back to the drivers you were just talking about. Montini, Thacker, and Tremblay very close in a fight down to Lecombe. And it looks like Tremblay is going to be able to outbrake Thacker. Thacker tries to come back at him, use the over-under. He could look to the inside. Oh, gets squeezed for the second time this race on his way down to Rivage, and decides not to try and send it in deep into that hairpin.
Be careful. Possibility of things could happen, especially when we close into the closing minutes of this race. Thacker might not be as patient on those final laps. I know these drivers race clean for the most part, but a lot at stake. Drivers trying to move their way up in the points championship, try to cap the season off on a high note. I know Aaron Thacker's looking for those good top 10 finishes, as he is Mr. Consistency himself. So we might see Aaron Thacker try to get a little aggressive, but it looks like Jean-Marc is now closing into the back bumper of Federico.
Yeah, that Montini brother was way wide in Pujon, taking a lot of that paved runoff. Despite that, was not able to carry the speed. Jean-Marc Tremblay now all over the back of him. The green, black, and white Porsche of the Canadian is looking to see if he can move himself up to P6. He has to watch out because don't count out Aaron Thacker behind them. They hit Blanchimont. Swing through the left-hander. Little bit wide there for Tremblay. Keeps it together, though, over the curbs. Can't outbrake him into the bus stop. Outbrakes himself a little bit. Smoke coming from the tires as he locks them up slightly. Aaron Thacker now spies a spot. Up to the GP pits. He's close behind him. Not sure if this is close enough for a chance into La Source Taylor, but nope, indeed, he's going to stay behind.
He's being very patient right now. He's biding his time, waiting for the opportunity to make that pass. He's being patient as we saw Tremblay make a couple of mistakes. Let's see what they do up El Rouge and the Radillon. We are on board currently still. Great run from Thacker as he goes a little bit off wide though there. Might lose a little bit of time, but utilize the slipstream to help close the gap, Joe. He's going to try to make a good pass going into Lacombs.
He's got a good opportunity. Look him go all the way to driver's right on the track, but comes back to the racing line. He's got to watch out for those off tracks. I'm not sure how many he's racked up at this point, but he's been a little free and loose with them right now.
Yeah, some of the drivers have to be a little bit careful now. Might be probably going closer to that 24 incident point. Who knows? There may be a small possibility where we may see a driver get disqualified because of too many off tracks.
Back to 13th, Hugo Galaz and Tyler Dezube are side by side right now, coming through Lacombe. And Galaz is going to come out on top of that fight. Behind them, they've also got Rodrigo Munoz giving watch and Takeshi Kita. So a 4-car train all looking to fight for P13.
All these drivers are just battling it out right now. We have 3 Porsches versus 1 Ferrari right now as they came out of no name into Pouan. Dezube trying his best to close into the back bumper, but it looks like now Takeshi Kita as well as Rodrigo Munoz are just stationary at the moment, cannot find a way to close that gap.
Not missing anything up at the front for the podium. Those 3 still very separate. This is one of the closest fights we've got on track. It's either this one or the fight for P6. Take your pick. Both are looking pretty exciting as they come out of Stavolo. Galaz still trying to shake Dezube, but can't do anything to get the orange and white Ferrari off of his tail.
It looks like this could be the shot that Dezube needs now as they make the run to Blanchimont. Utilizing that slipstream right now. He's going to close in a little bit more. Careful not to go offline through Blanchimont. Try to set up a pass maybe into the bus stop chicane. Late braking for Dezube now. Let's see. Has to check up a little bit.
Locked him up mid-corner, trying to stay out of the back of the Porsche. Completing yet another lap. And if you haven't watched a race here as did something happen to Tremblay? He got passed. It looks like Aaron Thacker finally got a good enough run heading down the Kimmel Straight, excuse me. It looks like he manages to finally move himself to P7. Let's take a look at the replay on that one. Maybe, what do you think? Did he just get a good run off of Eau Rouge here?
Most likely, and then of course utilize the slipstream down the Kimmel Straight as we see the replay right now. Look at that run he gets right to the back bumper, and then slingshots around Jean-Marc Tremblay down the Kimmel Straight to complete the pass. I mean, there's not a better pass completed than just right there we just saw. What a beautiful pass Aaron Thacker's made.
Don't worry, they haven't sponsored a straight here at Spa quite yet. It is still the Kimmel Straight. I just need to get control of my tongue here. But this battle not over. Aaron Thacker still ahead of Tremblay. Tremblay looking to retake it. Oof. Diving across him as Jean-Marc holds his line. But Aaron Thacker trying to use as much of the track as possible, swinging it way wide at every chance. They come down to Blanchimont. Once again, the draft pulling in the Porsche on the Ford. Is this going to be enough? We've seen the wake through Blanchimont ruin many a run. Doesn't really ruin this one, but it doesn't really help either.
No, it looks like he's going to have to be patient or try to be late in the braking through the bus stop chicane. But it might just not work that time right now. He's going to have to be patient and maybe try again as they make the run up to La Source. They might have to wait till they get down the Kimmel Straight again.
And we lost Jerome Bertome. I don't know about you, Taylor. I didn't see what caused him to retire from the race, but he's actually left the server.
Yeah, I don't know either. I saw him on pit road earlier, but I just did not try to find to see what it was. No major situations that I could see. He just pulled it down pit road.
Huh. Interesting. Meanwhile, let's go back to Dzube, who's still hassling the likes of Hugo Galaz. The Hispano-American driver currently sits P13. He's had multiple drivers try to take that away, the latest being Tyler Dzube. The run that he's got. Not sure if there's enough straightaway for this one, though, Taylor.
Definitely wait when they get to Leclerc, but he's going to close in right there as they come down the Kemmel Straight into Leclerc. And not close enough, but still closer than he was a few minutes ago. Oh, as he makes a little bit of a mistake right there, as they head into Malmedy, he's going to have to try again and be a little bit more patient. Careful on corner exits.
So through Rivage, ooh, a little bit wide. Wow, he washed out wide. Hugo Galaz dealing with a handful of understeer, and still some more as he comes through No Name. Once again goes wide, this time with an off track. Puhan can sometimes offer the same. Let's see if he's still fighting it. It looks like he's got it under control. But man, that Porsche was looking evil through some of those corners.
Yes, it was. It was almost amazing to see. He was able to keep the car under that well of control and not spin it out. So very good job by our driver here of Hugo Galaz to try to not only that, but keep Tyler Dzube at bay.
Dzube at bay, I like that a lot. We'll have to remember that one as they come up out of Stavolo 2. This time it's a better run for Galaz. He keeps himself much safer from Tyler. We are down to 3.5 minutes to go, and Karl Modhoff is looking ready to make it 7-4-7. Look at the gap. We saw there that shot briefly. It's the entire Kemmel Straight that the number 48 has on the 727. This is just astonishing.
No one has been able to close in on Karl Modhoff, not just in this race, but the entire season. I mean, I've never seen anyone this dominant in a series. Yes, we saw the likes of Jesper Drlicka and Ben Perez do so well throughout seasons, but Joe, I mean, have you ever seen anyone this dominant throughout a season?
The last time I saw someone perform this well had to be the absolute beginners with Iro Nam. And he wasn't completely infallible. Now, we have seen mistakes from Modhoff in some of the races. Certainly not this one, that's for sure. But Karl's going to get the white flag this time by with only one more lap to go to continue this practically perfect winning streak.
I mean, this is just history in the making, folks. I mean, if you've been watching this series for quite some time, whether it be on GSRC or the IESN, in my entire career calling these races, I've never seen a dominant performance done. And Karl Modhoff is doing that. As we look back onto that battle for Rodrigo Munoz and Takeshi Kita, Joe, that's been heating up quite well between these two.
Yep, this is for 15th. Oh, and going the long way around to Puhan. Doesn't quite work out for Kita. He's still got a chance down to Fanyes. A little bit deep into the brakes for Rodrigo Munoz. He somehow holds the car together through the chicane and also holds off Takeshi. But he is looking a little bit out of sorts right now. Kita knows it. He stays right under the gearbox. Let's see what he can do coming onto the straight towards Blanchimont. Oh, that's very slow. What happened here?
He got a lot of loose. Got really loose out of Stavolo. He had to back off the car in order to save it. And a great save it was, but he lost a lot of time.
Oh, and while we weren't looking, Aaron Thacker had a cut course at the bus stop chicane. This has brought in Jean-Marc Tremblay once again. This is the battle for 7th that refuses to die.
He's going to try his best down the Kemmel Straight to see if he can close in, but he's a little bit too far right now. About 3 or 4 car lengths separate the two. As up the road also right now, Sebastian Maciera closes in on the back bumper of Federico Montini. That's going to be quite a good battle between this. This is a battle for P5.
Yeah, that could be a spicy one. The Montinis do not like to give up positions easily, that's for sure. Right on board with Tremblay, still following in the wake of Aaron Thacker. Both of them going just a little bit wide out of No Name. Both able to continue on. But now we've got to head over to Karl Modoff. A couple more corners to go. The Club West driver is showing them how it's done this season. Can't stress enough how disappointed he seemed having lost out on the championship last season, coming in second place. He's already clinched it here, but he's putting an incredibly huge stamp on this thing, claiming this series for his own as Karl Modoff takes the victory in Spa. 7 for 7 now.
Christian Eisler now is going to come home in second place. That is definitely something he's going to need right now. Great run, but we got a battle for 7th in the back of the field right now.
Francisco Montini, you can see, takes his first podium of the season. The battle for 7th. Has that settled itself out? Not quite. Thacker's got to get a good exit here. That's all he needs to take it home. Tremblay knew it. He gets on the power a little too soon. That's going to give 7th to Thacker, 8th to Tremblay. That's going to be it in terms of drivers battling with one another here at the end. Cristobal Valenzuela going to be able to take home 11th, but nobody really close to one another for the end of this race. That's going to take us to our break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We're going to come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews. But stick around, because on screen you'll see all the upcoming races here on GSRC. Welcome back to Spa-Francorchamps. We just watched round 7 here in the American iRacing Tuesday series. Well, if you've been watching this season, you probably have an idea of what I'm going to say next. Karl Modhoff takes the victory. It's his 7th in 7 rounds. This is just stunning from him. However, Christian Eisler finally rebounds. He gets himself a 2nd place. I'd say that one is well earned. And how about Francisco Montini finally on the podium? It took him a while. He's got speed, and he did it from 9th place on the grid. What a climb. Leif Peterson, just shy of it this time. He finishes 4th. I'm sure he'll still be happy with the consistency he's been showing. And Federico Montini manages 5th. Sebastian Maciera, he gets 6th place. That's followed by Aaron Thacker in P7. Then as Jean-Marc Tremblay, who was in a big battle with Aaron for much of this race, taking 8th. Fernando Porta in 9th. And Justin Hall rounds out your top 10.
Finishing in 11th position will be Simon Avital, followed by Cristobal Valenzuela in 12th position. Tyler Dzube will come home in 13th, followed by Rodrigo Munoz in 14th. Takeshi Kita will move up into the 15th position in finishing order, followed by Corey Clark in 16th, Jeff Jacobson in 17th, James LeBlond in 18th, and Hugo Galaz got a DNF due to the fact on the last lap after cutting the course too many times, so he will be DNF or DNQ, but will end up in 19th, while Lucio Vargas will come home in 20th. Jerome Brufmion had an incident early on in the race, finishes 21st. Curlin Andrews 22nd, and then of course rounding out your 23 car field, Joey Trungale, who did not start.
Waiting for some of our podium finishers to join us, but in the meantime, we do have Leif Peterson, who finished 4th. So let's pull him in and talk to him about this race. Leif, this one looked maybe a little bit less exciting than what you experienced at Road Atlanta. Still, are you happy with 4th?
I am, yeah. I saw the pace Karl was putting on and Christian, and I was just happy to be anywhere in the vicinity. So I took too much fuel. I didn't calculate it right, so I spent about 4 seconds too long in the pit. So I denied you a battle with Francisco. Would have been good, but my bad.
Well, it's not us you need to worry about disappointing, I guess. But this is a good result regardless, because Valenzuela finished behind you today. So you got a nice points haul, potentially moving up another position in the championship.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. I just want to hang with the Montinis. They seem to be on my pace, and I think I'm right behind them in the points. I don't plan on passing anybody at this point, but next season I'll try to be on my game.
Well, what about Modhoff, though? Obviously, he's been out of reach this season. Is there anything you can do in the off season to maybe try and challenge him next year? You've been impressively consistent all this season.
Thank you. Yeah, the first 2 I wasn't really. I just hanging back and seeing what the score was. But yeah, the only thing I can do to catch Karl is steal his setups and disable his rig.
Hopefully it doesn't come to that sort of treachery, but
no, he's yeah. It's not his setup. He's just a great driver. So watch him and learn, see what he's doing different, and save the replays and study him. That's all.
Yeah, I think watch and learn is about the best a lot of drivers in this series can do with him. Anybody you'd like to thank before we let you go today? Only one more round to go.
Oh, thanks to the organizers, Aaron and Jerome. Very good league, well organized, well thought out. I like the single class for a change. I've always been in multi-class, so yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I learned about this league by watching your broadcasts and go, hey, I should be in there last season. That looks like fun. Those guys, that's a big field of GTEs. I want to do that.
Well, I'm glad you joined, because you've contributed some great battles so far this season and given us good action to watch. Looking forward to seeing you at the Nürburgring, sir.
Me too. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good night.
That was Leif Peterson, 4th place finisher in the number 913 today. That's going to close it up. Our podium was not interested in coming and talking today. Guess everybody's a little bit tired after racing here at Spa. That leaves us with some people to thank. First off, I want to thank the official sponsor of this series, SIMSA, the Simulation Motorsports Association. If you want to check them out, you can find them at simsa.net. Also, of course, once again, a thank you to Inspector Ride. If you want to check out their software, you can find a free trial at inspectorride.com/iRacing. So go give that a look. Also, big thank you to iRacing for bringing us on to the iRacing Esports Network. If you can, make sure to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss a moment and it all shows up in your YouTube feed. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. Additional thanks go to Eric Ekholm and June Lalonde, who provide our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of their great work. Thanks to the team today, Taylor, Sean, and Dougie, as well as a big thank you to Adam Lindgren, our spotter in the background today. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. You can also check us out on social media. We're on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. As we mentioned, next race brings us over to Germany at the Nürburgring's GP course. We're not doing the main thing, the big one, so don't worry about that. It'll be Tuesday, February 19th. Got a little bit of a break before that one, 2 weeks off. So that'll be at 9 p.m. Eastern as always. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.